Welcome to yet another exciting episode of Tonight with Zororo, featuring your host, Zororo Makamba, and your DJ, SK. Tonight, Zororo has a one-on-one interview with blogger and podcast personality Larry Kurirai. Larry has been writing since 1997 and especially enjoys writing poetry and prose. He's been running his blog, 3 Men on a Boat, since 2008. You can join us in conversation on Twitter and follow us on @TWZ Show. And don't forget to include the hashtag TWZ. And now, give it up for your host, Zororo Makamba.
Thank you everyone, and good evening, and welcome to another episode of Tonight with Zororo. I think what is missing about our African stories is detailed content. I think what's missing globally are in-depth stories about Africa. For example, no one knows the challenges that Didier Drogba faced in moving from Ivory Coast to France before he went to Chelsea. But I can tell you all about the rise of 50 Cent, from how he got shot 9 times to his latest business venture in men's underwear. You see, the West has realized very quickly the power of storytelling. In America, they give their brands life. You know, I don't drink a lot, but when I do, I think of a Budweiser commercial and the emotional attachment that I have after watching it. Let's take it to the boardroom. Look at Tijani Thiam. Exactly how did he become the first black person to lead a FTSE 100 company? Where are the books and documentaries about how Strive Masiwa became Strive Masiwa? Yves Saint Laurent was born in Algeria. He lived there until he was 19. He learned all of his fashion design in Africa. Gabby Agian was born and raised in Egypt. She created the popular fashion house Chloe and invented the ready-to-wear business model. These two people have revolutionized the fashion industry, and they were born on the same soil as you and I. But no one in Africa knows that. So we end up growing and thinking that these dreams of ours are unachievable. You see, there are thousands of great Africans, but our parents don't have enough to pass on to their children. So we end up respecting the West and in the end have an identity crisis.
We want to know what you think. Join us on Twitter @TWZ Show and include the hashtag #MyAfricanStory and let us know what you love about being African.
Welcome back, and here's the update. SK, I felt like a statement out there. I think my future is bright in politics. I did that without a teleprompter.
Yeah.
But no, look, jokes aside, what are your thoughts on just the need for Africans to begin to tell their own story?
True, man. I think we've got what it takes. We've got trained journalists here. We need to take time to really invest in letting the world know who we are. And I think they should start with writing about SK.
Always putting yourself ahead of the game. And look, our next guest is Larry, and Larry writes. He's a blogger, very passionate about Africa and Africa telling a story. And I hope he shares a bit of light with us, on his thoughts with this subject. It's interesting because when you look at the Ebola crisis, Ebola was only really affecting 4 to 5 countries in Africa.
But they made it look like everywhere in Africa there was Ebola. We didn't have it
because
here.
These African editors and journalists were allowing people from the West to tell our own story, and it was chaotic.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't even have a single case here.
True.
There were 4 cases in the States, but just the media coverage made it seem like we were about to be just blown off the face of the earth.
True. Which is, I think the journalists can play a very big role in just telling what's really on the ground.
I'm telling you, media, if we commercialize our constitution, our history, and we just sell Africa, there's a lot of good that's going to come out of it. Get ready for the other side of Samora.
P.O. Box went out into the streets of Harare to find out how people pronounce words on the different sides of Samora.
Determine.
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 Determine. Maestro.
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 Minestrone soup.
Minestrone soup. Minestrone soup.
Minestrone soup. 1866.
1866.
1866.
1866. Enough Bridge.
Birchenau Bridge.
Birchenau Bridge.
Enough Bridge. 20.
20.
20.
20.
16.
16.
16.
16.
Bed.
Birds.
Bird.
Bed. Regardless.
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 Mariah.
Maria. Maria.
Maria.
Mariah.
Maria. Mariah.
And Maria.
Chloe.
Chloe.
Cleo. Cleo. Chloe.
Prior State.
Paria State. Pariah State.
Paria State. Paria State.
Souffle.
Souffle. Souffle.
Souffle. Souffle.
Real Madrid.
Real Madrid. Real Madrid.
Real Madrid. Real Madrid.
Continue.
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 Consequence.
Consequence.
Consequence. Development. Development.
Development. Development. Municipality. Darasika. Municipality. Municipal. No, municipality.
Municipality.
Keep it locked on TWZ. We'll be right back. Welcome back.
My next guest is the founder of the award-winning blog, 3 Men on a Boat. He's a writer, a poet. He just got into radio. Please help me welcome Larry Kwirirai. Larry.
Thank you.
How are you, buddy? You well?
I'm fine. I felt like you should have a politician's welcome. You know, when you say thank you, and you wave at the crowd and stuff like that. But I feel this is not the type of show, is it?
All protocol observed. We have you with that.
Yeah.
Larry, you spend so much time writing about other people. You're a social commentator. But who are you? What do you like to get up to?
Whew. So it's one of those difficult questions ever because I don't think I fall into any box. I was having a conversation today with somebody when I was saying, with somebody saying, do you have a sort of crowd that you hang out with? And I found out that I didn't. I just gravitate towards people for different reasons. I would hang out with a murderer as much as I would hang out with an innocent person. So I'm very curious about the human spirit, about the human soul. I'm curious about human beings, which means that I tend to do a lot more things that don't make sense to many people that want to put you in a box.
People called you odd, weird, because of that?
The word weird has passed by, yeah. And I don't mind it because, I mean, you know, it's about self-identification. It's like, what do you want to be in your life? Do you want to be that person that was known for that one single thing? Or do you want to be the person who you say to yourself, like, I did everything that I could do? If there was a time that I had a rock band, for example, and we had fun. It was 2 years of fun. We scored a couple of nice gigs and did all that stuff.
A couple of nice chicks as well?
Standard. Who wants to be a rock star without all those benefits, right?
Of course.
And then I've done my poetry, I've done writing, I've done...
Yeah, where did the passion for writing come from? Because you write a lot. I follow your blog religiously, and every day there's at least 3 or 4 articles that go up.
First and foremost is arrogance. Because I can't meet people personally. I feel like I have all these stories I need to tell. So in terms of self-identification and relevance and self-actualization, all those other, geek speak out there, but I should throw those in because, people that, out there might like those comments. But ultimately, it comes down to feeling a sense of validity as a human being. Like, I have this idea, and limiting it to family and friends might not be fair. Let me write and send it to the world. And You know, one day human beings will say there was a person by the name of Larry Creed and didn't need to live 1,000 years to exist. Wrote a couple of ideas. Most of them were rubbish, don't get me wrong. But yeah, at least he tried to have a conversation.
When you write, Larry, I can hear your voice, I can see your opinion, and when you look when you look at a lot of the mainstream papers and media outlets today, you don't see the same. There's a lot of copy and paste journalism. It's more reporting. There's no expression in the journalist. Why has our industry become that?
There are loads of reasons, but chief among them is just we've just gotten lazy, and we've become an instant coffee type of generation, where we think what's supposed to happen has to happen now, and everything that it comes with has to happen now, and if it doesn't happen now, it's not valid, not worth pursuing. So there's a feeling that, you know, stories should happen now and shouldn't have an investigation. And also there's issues of budgets, to be honest. So it's much more difficult to investigate a story as deeply as you did before, where you're given 6 months to pursue a story. Nowadays you're told, hey, deadline is next week. And beyond that, it just comes down to that. There's just lack of curiosity about the world, lack of the pride that you come from putting an opinion out there. When a writer used to write something out, was the feeling that I have communicated with the world. These are my thoughts that are going out to the world, and this is it. And I'm going to fall on this axe, whatever happens. This is going to be the definition of who I am. You don't fear that what you're saying and giving out to the world is something that's going to be, you know, misconstrued. So you just take somebody else's idea and you put it on. And then there's, of course, some of this just plain theft, or, you know, because you want to have a brand. Or just simply do spend the whole day copy pasting, and a couple of news organizations, especially outside Zimbabwe, news, quote unquote, they just copy paste work that is done on the ground. They don't have any people on the ground. They don't have any correspondence, but they will call themselves a Zimbabwean blog, but you say, or news agents, whatever. So yeah, let's put it down to those two: theft and laziness.
And how about social media? How much of an impact has that had in the way reporters are now telling stories?
In Zimbabwe, not so much.
Yeah.
Because for them, social media is Facebook, and Facebook is friends. And so you get, you know, places like Twitter, which is essentially is a breaking news platform, whether you're breaking news about yourself or you're breaking news about somebody else and stuff like that. There's been, in Zimbabwe, there's a huge level of immaturity when it comes to new technology of any sort, never mind social media. And even if you look at news agencies themselves, they will look at it as an added thing as opposed to being part of the tools that they can use for news gathering.
But when you look at the mobile penetration rate, the literacy rate, young people in terms of the populace dominates, why are we so naive and ignorant about the benefits of social media and technology when it comes to journalism and reporting?
Because it's laziness. Because let's face it, a lot of social media strategies you'll find used in this country is somebody taking a social media strategy based on a study in New York somewhere. So someone in New York, a media company, went out and created this huge sample and said you should post at this time, you should do this, and whatnot, based on the habits of the people in those countries. And then they just take that social media strategy and just bring it to Zimbabwe, where formal employment is different, where there's so many different factors, access to internet and so forth. So the strategies in those countries will work for those countries. So when you take that strategy and you bring it here, and it doesn't work, you say, oh, social media hasn't caught on in Zimbabwe. But no one is looking at the habits of the Zimbabwean. How are they consuming media in general, not just social media? What are their habits? How are they listening to music? How are they listening to the news? Where do they get it? And not even coming down to the idea of condensing it down to basic human spirit and human values, and which is essentially now social media has created a system in which you and another person can share personal news or anybody else's news, much the same way that we did in communities back in the days. So it's no longer a big organization that is determining what sort of content you want to have. So, and there's a lack of understanding of the power that you can have if you can get people to latch onto your brand and be your disciples and go and spread it across the world. So it's just that, it's a game of inches. It's like, okay, we understand social media, and what other people are doing, But we're targeting these other people. Like, oh no, but the kids are doing this. No, the kids don't buy. Let's go and target the older people who are not on social media. And you say it's not working. So lack of planning.
Hey, we could go on all the time, but we have to take a short break. I'm here in studio with Larry Kurirai. Keep it locked here on TWZ. We'll be right back.
Keep it locked on TWZ. We'll be right back. Welcome back.
Welcome back. I'm here with Larry Kurirai, founder of 3 Men on a Boat. So you know I work at ZFM, my station, your station, and
Everybody's station. Hottest radio in town.
look at you, free drops for them. And one day during the Breakfast Club, not the Breakfast Club, that star, look at me.
You're talking about the anthem thing, aren't you?
You beat me to it. You couldn't sing the national anthem. Larry could not sing the national anthem. Misread and TK called him off the ignition, and you couldn't. Don't know the words?
No, I was sick.
You were sick?
I said I couldn't because I was sick.
Do you want to sing the first verse right now?
Not particularly.
Wasn't that a bit embarrassing?
Not at all. I mean, I don't embarrass that easily.
Yeah.
You call me at 3, because it was my birthday.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, your birthday. And it just happens that, wow, my birthday is on the same day as National Anthem Day. And then I heard them like, Miss Red calls me, so we're calling in a few minutes. Then I heard TK say, oh, it's Anthem Day and whatnot. And it was like, and I knew, oh gosh, this is coming.
It looks like Larry still doesn't know it. Excuses, he's buying time.
But no, what was fascinating is Comrade Chino's version of the national anthem. Did you hear him sing it afterwards?
No, let's not talk about Chinos because
it was an amazing remix.
Right, you're drifting.
I'm being a politician.
Do you have a crush on Amara Brown?
No.
You don't?
No, she's fascinating.
You dedicate so much of your time on your blog to talking about her, and we're going to actually show the content now. If you look at the screen of just...
I can explain why.
Yeah, go for it.
She's amazing content. It's like how you go to the United States, they're talking about Lady Gaga all the time. To be honest, most of the public personalities in this country are boring. Like they're very cagey about aspects of their lives, and if you write something about them, you get phone calls threatening you and so forth. They don't realize that if you look at the number of searches that people make for specific characters, they increase because of the type of characteristic that person has. And what so happens that you look at Amara Brown, she puts a lot of herself out there, and she talks about issues that most people think, no, I can't talk about that. Things such as sexuality and all that other stuff. And they create great conversation around it. And that just makes for great content. And I'm a content creator, and I love content. And anybody who helps create content, I love.
Yeah, she's recently single. Would you date her?
It'd be awkward.
Be awkward?
Yeah.
I think
after you write so many things about it.
I think you've been friend-zoned, mate.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think about it that way because I just kind of think like it's fascinating that you can write about somebody and they become a subject. And then now getting into that other space where they get angry at you and they whatnot, you kind of like, yeah, let's not.
Yeah. What's next for you?
Next, building more podcasts. As you know, I got the Criticast.
Congratulations on that.
Week. We're like 70-something episodes already.
It's a lot of content.
Yeah, so I mean, there's loads of content that I want to curate in different spaces, creating more opportunities for voices to come out there. Also, there's also different products that are coming out of 3Bob, which is redesigned and reimagined ourselves, so to speak, and slowly rolling out new products. Essentially, what we want to do is to create loads and loads of content. Of course, the content space in Zimbabwe is kind of restricted. It's restricted not from a conversation perspective, but if you look at how expensive it is for people on mobile phones to access local content as opposed to, say, accessing WhatsApp or accessing Facebook.
Sure.
So then there's no net neutrality. So people are more likely to go onto platforms like Facebook. So it makes it harder for people in Zimbabwe to create dominant platforms because it's just so expensive for local people to access it. So But given that sort of scenario, we'll find ways to work around it because the story of Zimbabwe needs to be told.
Of course, I definitely agree with that. Larry, thank you very much for your time on TWZ.
It's been a pleasure.
I hope you cut your hair soon.
Stranger things have happened.
We'll be right back.
My name is Squash. I'm a singer, songwriter, producer. Well, there's no point I can really say I got into music. As far as I remember, I was always up to something musical. I remember the first tune I composed, I was, I think, in grade 2 or something. Yeah, so it's always been like that. I think I've been a professional producer for about 3 years now. Yeah. Well, I produce house music and kind of pop and a bit of Afrobeat myself.
I'm sitting here hopelessly in this empty room. Thoughts of you keep crossing my mind. Since the day you went away, I've been missing you. Wish that you were here by my side. Girl, you've been gone for way too long. Now I miss you desperately. Are you coming home? I wanna know. To a place where you belong. Baby, ngigolindile. Uzobuya nini na. Baby, ngigolindile. Uzobuya nini na. Baby, ngigolindile. Uzobuya nini na. Baby, ngigolindile. Staring at the door, hopefully you'll be walking in through. But not without you I can survive. Since the day you went away, I've been thinking of you. Wish that you were here with me. Though you've been gone for way too long. Now I miss you desperately. Are you coming home? I wanna know. To a place where you belong. Uzobuya nini na. Baby, ngigolindile. 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 Ngigolindile.